Now, in this bottom part, the workout list preview,
Yeah.
is that all I need to write there? Pass in the environment object to it?
Yeah, but like I said, if you're gonna like have mock workouts, that's where you're gonna have you're gonna instantiate a list of um like workouts that you're gonna pass to the HockeyTracker object. So like when you run the app, it's gonna automate that and like automatically use HealthKit, but you want a use case or you're gonna want like some sort of way to like pass in fake data. So I would almost have like a protocol that HockeyTracker object takes so that like one data source will actually be like actual HealthKit, but then you can have your own data source that will be like a fake HealthKit that will return fake workouts. And then that's where you can like in your preview, like create a bunch of workouts that will show up in your preview. But then when you run the app, it'll actually call HealthKit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So would like an if debug, would that work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could do it that way too. You can have like if debug, because like you say you want to like hide the ability to like put in like manual workouts in code. You could do it that way. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think just at a high level, I don't understand, what's going on with the preview. So, you build the view how you want, and then what's the purpose of the preview?
It's so that you can preview the SwiftUI view without having to build app.
Right, but just why does Apple have that set? Like, why don't they do that internally, or what, what is gained by having the preview below it?
Previews serve the purpose so that you can actively develop the SwiftUI view without having to compile and like run the app. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the result makes total sense. I'm just curious to why, like I said, you just don't build your workout list view and it just shows up on the right. Why do you need this second struct that's a preview?
Well, I mean, like, so you could do things like have multiple previews. So you can like create your own set of data, like different sets of data, and see
Yeah.
different previews of how the app would look,
Yeah.
depending on different states. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you could do like a lot more advanced stuff than just this like built-in code here. And I could show you some of that if you want me to.
What I guess, is say, at the bottom here, um, like, why do I have to pass in the environment object again? Why can't I just, instantiate a workout list view and it's already called, Why do I have to do it twice?
You're only doing it once because the preview is run in Xcode. It's not run in the app. So when you run a preview, it's just running this preview provider. It's not running the rest of your app code. Does that make sense?
Right. Is
So
did,
so
will
you're
you
not passing the environment object twice. You're passing it. The preview doesn't like run the whole app. It just runs the preview. So that's why you have to pass in the environment object for the preview here.
typically, because this is a very kind of like, crude app with not much going on, will you have to do a lot of coding in the preview window?
Depending on how complicated you want your state to look, I mean, you could make it complicated. It really depends. Like again, the preview serves the purpose of showing you how the app will look without having to like um run the app and build it every time. So like if you want to create some complicated state, like yeah, you'll have to code that. Um Let me see if I have some examples so I could show you. You can see my screen.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so here's an example of an app I'm building for my local coding community. So here is so here's a preview where I am previewing with the tab view, but I want to show you more like this event list here. So here's an example, right? So I have to like scaffold the event list so that I can actually preview what it looks like. And then there's things I can do here. So like I have this mock data store where I can just pretty much use this Firebase for its back end. So like I don't actually want to call Firebase. I just want to manually put the events in when I use previews. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm creating it using this mock data store where I just manually create these events. So, oh, you know, the venue is a new place. We're going to talk about stuff, da da da. I think it actually shows this one here. And then, so yeah, event list. So, right. And then I have the mock data here. And then I could also do things like set up the preview layout because it's like a row. I don't want it to show like the event as like a whole iPhone. I just want the row. And then here I set the environment object with the data set, and then I can set whatever store I want. So if we go to like data set here, the, what's it called? Data store, yeah. So data store is actually a protocol. So all I need is some ability to get a bunch of events or a bunch of like groups. And so one uses Firestore, which is Firebase, but then I also have this like mock one right here where I can just manually add a bunch of events and groups because that's what I use when I preview. Does that kind of make sense?
Can you go back to the data store?
The protocol?
One more back, I think it was the observable object.
The data set. So this is the environment object that I use.
Okay. Gotcha.